Entrepreneurship development and small business development. Sometimes we regret making mistakes in life, but we do not always have to be sorry about it, because as Albert Einstein said, a person who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. So an entrepreneur always learns from making mistakes because he tries to make something new. The word entrepreneurship comes from the French word entreprendre or the German word Unternehmen, which means in English to undertake. It is used in the business context to mean starting of a business. In the dictionary, though, it is said that an entrepreneur is one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risks of running a business. For the purposes of understanding, an entrepreneur is an innovator who's looking for an opportunity to make something new and to make a change in the existing products and services. That is the basic meaning of entrepreneurship. But we often confuse this with a small business. It is essential that as students you understand the meaning of entrepreneurship and its difference with small business. What is small business? There are different definitions. The definitions may be based on turnover, manpower, asset base, investment, the balance sheet total, or a combination of these, with varying degrees in authorities and countries. But in India, the definition of small business is given by the MSMED Act of 2006. That is the Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Development Act of 2006. In brief, a business is small when it is small in relation to other firms in the same industry. Well, to look at the Indian definition, the MSMED Act 2006 defines the micro, small, and medium enterprises based on investment in plant and machinery for manufacturing units and investment in equipment for service units. That for manufacturing units, those which have investment in plant and machinery below 25 lakhs are called micro manufacturing units. Again, those firms which have investment in plant and machinery from 25 lakhs to 5 crores are called small manufacturing units. If we go a little higher, we find that manufacturing medium-sized units are ones which have investment in plant and machinery worth 5 crores to 10 crores. Now, looking at the service sector, the service sector micro enterprises are those which have investment in equipments below rupees 10 lakhs. Those enterprises in the service sector which have investments in equipments between 10 lakhs and 2 crores are called small service sector units. Finally, the service sector units which have investments in equipments between 2 crores and 5 crores are called medium-sized service sector units. Therefore, we have a fair understanding about which business is a small business in the Indian situation. Now, I would like to bring to you the difference between an entrepreneurial business and a small business. The difference between the entrepreneurial business and the small business lies in 4 characteristics. 1. The amount of wealth that is created, the speed in which such wealth that is created, the risk that the entrepreneurial venture may take, and the innovation that a small business, when it becomes an entrepreneurial business, takes up. If we look at the similarities and the differences between entrepreneurship and small business, we find that both these are responding to opportunities, looking at market needs, and trying to earn profits. But how are they different? They are different because the way in which a small business responds to an opportunity takes up much lower risk, and therefore the amount of wealth that is created by the small business and the speed in which the wealth is created by the small business is much lower in comparison to the entrepreneurial business. The entrepreneurial business takes up innovative activities and therefore is more risky. As a reward for that risk, the entrepreneur is able to create a larger amount of wealth in a smaller period of time. To summarize, both are doing business in a small scale, both want to earn profits, but the entrepreneurial business tries to do an innovative activity and tries to earn profits by going into risky ventures, and therefore, in comparison to the small business, an entrepreneurial business makes higher profits in a shorter period of time. To this, we try to understand why innovation, entrepreneurial business are important for the economic development of a country. We find that from 1930s, it has been pointed out all over the world that for the purpose of economic development, entrepreneurship is very important. Schumpeter pointed out that the entrepreneur is the key figure for economic development because he brings about innovations. At the same time, a little later, Parsons and Samuelson described an entrepreneur as providing the other factor besides capital. It's not enough to have capital for an economic development. You need a catalyst in the form of an entrepreneurial ability. The entrepreneur will perceive the opportunities which others in the economy have not been able to foresee. So essentially, an entrepreneur brings about economic development by scanning the environment, identifying the need, and thereafter putting together manpower, material, and capital to respond to the opportunity that is existing in the environment. But how does the entrepreneur actually bring about economic development? The entrepreneur promotes his own savings as well as the savings of others from the public to bring about capital formation. When he uses this capital for his innovative ideas in a business, he creates employment opportunities. And one other very important issue that entrepreneurship creates in the field of economic development is that it promotes regional development. It balances the development into different parts of an economy. This is especially relevant for India because India being a country where there are many developed areas and many backward areas. So entrepreneurship brings about wealth creation and distribution of income earning opportunities to various regions of the country which have been deprived from such opportunities. This, in a way, brings about an improvement in the standard of living of every individual because the people who will be able to use these latest innovations and these products, goods and services will be available at lower costs for the use of the public at large. So this sums up how income generation is possible, and that brings about economic development for the country by entrepreneurship development. But if we go into a little more detail, we would definitely need to know the meaning of entrepreneurship and further, how did the term entrepreneurship come about? So we go into the evolution of the term entrepreneurship. We begin from the 18th century, where entrepreneurship was considered as something that a business does today, takes risks. It was much later in the 19th century that the concept of innovation was added. Innovation is not restricted to a product innovation. Today's world looks at innovation in the form of process innovation, market innovation, product innovation, factor innovation, even organizational innovation. New business models are innovative business practices. Today, we do look at entrepreneurship as an opportunity or a field where people, individuals, look for combining opportunities and innovative ideas in their enterprises. So if we go into the different schools of thought of entrepreneurship, we should begin with Jean-Baptiste Say, who was a French entrepreneur, and he actually used the word entrepreneur for the first time in history. To Jean-Baptiste Say, the entrepreneur shifts economic resources out of an area of lower use into an area for higher productivity and for greater yield. This shows us that the concept of entrepreneur is making use of an opportunity which is there in one place and not there in another place. Cantillon's theory of 1755 talks about entrepreneur as a risk taker. Schumpeter, 1934, which was further enhanced and enriched much later, says that the entrepreneur is one which has an innovative spirit, as they say, the animal instinct, the spirit of fire within an individual. Kerzner, on a much later date, introduced the technique of production or a shift in preferences by creating a disequilibrium in the market when initially there was equilibrium. So Kerzner says an entrepreneur has access to information that can create a disequilibrium in the market. This is the foundation of the modern theory of entrepreneurship, which talks about entrepreneurship being a nexus of two phenomena, the presence of an opportunity and the presence of individuals with additional information. The modern theory stated by Shane and Venkataraman in 2000 said that some individuals who have access to more information from the environment and are able to use this information for the purpose of satisfying business opportunities are the entrepreneurs. This is based on Kerzner's entrepreneurial discovery process, where they say that prior information is needed to complement the existing information in the discovery of new business opportunities. To this, we will add how entrepreneurial behavior substantiates entrepreneurial thinking. To summarize the discussion in brief so far, we said that Jean-Baptiste Say introduced the term entrepreneur, which the study on entrepreneurship was enhanced by thoughts by Kerzner, by Schumpeter, and the modern theories by Shane and Venkataraman. Further, we go into the understanding of entrepreneurial behavior. How does an entrepreneur behave? He takes decisions and he takes specialized judgmental decisions, which may sometimes be different for different people, different situations. So today, we cannot say that X person is capable of being an entrepreneur. What we say today is X behavior is an entrepreneurial behavior. Therefore, from this we go on into understanding the factors that influence entrepreneurship. The factors that influence entrepreneurship are many. Today we will discuss 4 basic factors which are economic, social, psychological and environmental factors. These factors together and individually influence entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial behavior in a particular country. To begin with, the economic factors influencing entrepreneurship could be considered that of market, capital, labor, industrial and fiscal policy of the country. The size and composition of the market influences entrepreneurship in its own way. Suppose there is a monopoly and there is a demand for goods that the entrepreneur needs to satisfy. That gives a push to those people who can think of innovative ways to break the monopoly situation. But any entrepreneurship has to be backed by availability of capital, because to bring together labor, machines, resources, equipments, raw material, it is essential that capital is available. Besides this, labor, skilled and unskilled, specialized, trained and semi-trained, are essential to bring about the resources and the factors of production together. These put together, along with the industrial and fiscal policies of the country, help in promoting entrepreneurship. Social factors influencing entrepreneurship. The social mobility, security, and general recognition are the 3 issues under the social factors that influence entrepreneurship. By social mobility, we mean the flexibility among people, among resources to be transferred from one place to another, to participate in the exchange of culture and attitudes in order to bring about entrepreneurial business success. If this mobility is positive, then growth of entrepreneurial business becomes also positive. At the same time, entrepreneurship security is an additional facilitating factor. By entrepreneurship security, we mean that an entrepreneur who takes risks for the purpose of doing something new, for generating profits, for satisfying the needs of the market, that entrepreneur has the support and the security of the government, of his family, of society, so that in case of an emergency, in case of a contingency, he has a fallback net to fall upon. Finally, we say that among the social factors, it's very important to give the entrepreneurs recognition in terms of social status. By recognition, we mean if an entrepreneur gets the same status as someone in employment, or if an entrepreneur is considered of equal capability of someone highly placed in employment, that encourages entrepreneurial behavior.